So the very first thing that I'm noticing here is why Tracer in the first place when you have an auto support.
I just wanted to play Tracer, and like, yeah,
Okay. I mean, honestly, maybe not super advisable. I think Tracer with Ana can be salvaged with Health Pack, and overall, I think Health Pack is actually super underrated as a game or as a talent. I would even go so far as to say, in the majority of situations, for the majority of players, it's the optimal pick because you run into really bad drafts a lot of the time, and the other two require a decent bit of skill to execute. So I think that if I did find myself in this situation, I would probably go Health Pack. If I were to pick Tracer at all. I'm not a big fan of Tracer on your team, but I'm a really big fan of Tracer into this enemy team. Because they are 5 heroes that just do nothing to you. Muradin is skill shot reliant for his Q to do anything to you. Otherwise, he just kind of gets bullied by Tracer. Malthael gets kited all day, Vala can't do anything, Li Ming, Deckard, it's the same story, all 5 heroes. So I really like it into this enemy hero, and I think it's salvageable with Health Pack into the point where it can actually be really good. So, also again, another thing that I really like is that you're recognizing that you're not really going to get any meaningful poke down here in the bottom lane. These three guys can handle themselves. Kael'thas has more than enough wave clear for them to be okay in this lane, especially because the enemy team doesn't have stellar wave clear. So they're going to be fine if you just leave these three alone, and you're not really going to contribute much. And Malthael is one of the more gank-susceptible offlaners, so I love this recognition. Honestly, I probably think you should have been here from the start, up in the top. But I like that you eventually recognized this and came on up. I will say that in the short term, you're doing more DPS if you just wait for that melee until you're done shooting. And I think that, yeah, so I think right there you may have missed out on a little bit of DPS. I don't think you would have saved the Chen, but more DPS is always good. And I think that maybe you could have saved him if you were here from the very start, just waiting in that right bush to the right of where you are now.
right.
I think that you absolutely need to be soaking this wave right now. That globe would have taken you up to nearly full, because you missed a globe already, and another globe just died right there. And I think that minions are the biggest priority. Like I always say to everybody that I coach, that HOTS happens in between minion waves. Meaning
Wait,
that,
how do I follow your screen?
I'm just following you around right now. Here, if we both press 5 and then space, your camera will just, if you, what is it? Yeah, if you press 5 and then hold space, or you just double tap 5, it'll show you what you were looking at the time. So, right, I'm gonna go back a bit. Are you with me in this replay? I know the replays can kind of lag out a little bit.
Yeah, it's seeking.
Okay. Just let me know when you're there. Hello, stream. Just waiting on Fain. Oh, sorry, I forgot that I was on not on push to talk. Are you good, Fain, or still seeking?
Oh, yep, still reconnecting.
Oh, that sucks. This replay system is terrible, man. If you have to, the last guy that I coached, what he ended up doing was getting the visual. He dropped out of the replay and got the visual from the stream itself, and that ended up working out a lot better.
Yeah, I'm back though.
Okay, so here, I've double tapped 5, so I'm getting to see what you're looking at. I think that there's no real reason to leave this minion wave. You could definitely soak this out. And also, if you look at your health right now, you're not even looking at the wave based on what I'm seeing, but there's a globe up there right now, and there's also the enemy globe. Getting these both would put you at very nearly 100%. And you also backed off this mouth a little early. Luckily, he just straight inted. But I think that you need to be on that wave soaking, and then you come to the camp when you're needed. Because like because you just being there at all should ward the Malthael off of threatening that camp. And if he steps up, then you just rotate over to him. So I think you missed a lot of self-healing right here, and a few minions of XP. And both of those actually make a pretty significant difference. So let's see. I like that you're soaking this. I have no idea what your Chen is doing. You honestly probably should have verbally, like, told this Chen that this is an awful idea to invade this camp. I don't think Chen is capable of soloing it, but maybe I'm wrong. With new Chen, I'm not super familiar.
Yeah.
But, like, having to miss
it works out.
Yeah. But I mean, like, you can't gauge these things on if they work, because this only works because the enemy team was garbage. You know what I mean? Like, if they're on the ball about going to the camps when they need, this never works. This Chen had like a straight, probably 30-40 second period where if anyone on the enemy team rotated, at best he's not getting the camp, at worst he's dying, and he leashed the camp for them, down to like half. So this is just one thing that I'd say completely irrelevant of your Tracer play. I think you probably should have warned this guy that it was a bad idea. Because again, you can't really rate things based on if they worked versus noobs, because that just is how bad habits form. Which enemy team is not garbage these days, Lord's Law? XD. Here, I actually want to watch this Malthael kill back again.
I think I got autoed by him when I didn't need to.
Yeah, that was my first thought, and it actually ends up being relevant. Yeah, so you walk right into melee range right there, end up eating, God, how much is it now? 2.5% of your health? I don't even know anymore. 1.75. Jesus, they've nerfed that ability. Plus a Q. The Q is really what hurts. Oh yeah, it's 2 Qs. And then there again, you blink directly onto him for the melee. That was kind of unnecessary. And like the biggest thing about Tracer play. What rank is this game? Fain is Plat 2 in this game. The biggest thing about Tracer play, by far, is not taking damage. Above all else. Because Tracer is one of these... is like in kind of a unique position that when she's at like half health, 40% health, she just gets insta-bopped, and then she's useless. So you really, really need to do your best to avoid being at low health. Being at low health the first time will force you to recall, and when you recall, you lose all of your aggressive and defensive potential. So being at low health forces you to give up your aggression and defense the first time, and then doing it again while recall is down just means you die. So super, super important that you avoid that. And it actually ends up being relevant right here. After you didn't dodge this Muradin Q, it looks like...
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, like, there's not much to say about that specifically, other than, like, just dodge better, Lamau. But, what it ends up being is that this is a little more terrifying than it should have been. Like, just if you can have more health, why not? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So let's see, you come soak this wave out, you get both the globes, tap in between the waves, I love it. And again, like, I think you already would have gotten pretty significant health pack value out of this game. And one big thing that I think is actually really underrated about health pack, and it would be coming in right here, is where it would be relevant. If you take health pack at 4, and for anybody who is at home unsure what health pack is, it's on screen right now. Double healing from globes and healing fountains. One big effect that this actually has on your games is that you can throw it on before a fight if you're at high health, and it basically just doubles your health bar. And so right here, you got 2 globes and a tap, and you're going up to 90%. So this is healing you for 400, and this is after it's been ticking for a bit. So you probably missed out on a solid 600-700 extra health this fight. And so just in this fight alone, like, compare the value of like Parting Gift versus having like 700 extra health. He would be at 140% HP. I mean, like, what's it called? This fight happens very shortly after he taps. Like, he literally taps and then goes straight to the fight. He wouldn't have hit full health yet, I don't think. If he would have hit full health, either way, he would have just barely hit full health. And then, what's it called? And then, like, the rest of the healing would still be relevant, because this guy would be hitting him and it just wouldn't be damaging him because he would be healing it all. So, like, it would actually be super, super relevant in this fight, and you probably can at least chunk this Vala down to 30%. And also, like, it's really deceiving if you're at 100% with a tap ticking on you with health pack, because she would think that you're so much squishier than you actually are. I think this Vala would have died, if that was your choice there. Oh, I think that second blink was kind of unnecessary. You were a little out of auto attack range, and now you're super far out of the fight. And that's another big thing, is don't waste blinks. You're also sitting on this bullet time for a long time. Like, you've had this talent ready for at least a good 7 seconds or so. And you've already auto-attacked about 5 times. You could have been significantly closer to another Q charge. Like, obviously it's a lot to expect from people, but, like, I don't know, when I'm on Tracer, like, I don't even have to look at the talents. Like, I just know I'm taking this one, I press these 2 buttons. Like, Control 2 when I'm 7, for instance. But, like, that would have actually made a pretty significant difference in this fight, and you'd be able to chase this a lot harder if, 1, you didn't waste that second blink getting away from the Vala that you were already out of range of, and 2, if you locked in the bullet time earlier. And then if you had health pack, the Vala probably dies before the fight even starts. Let's see. That's a good blink.
You should be looking to go on right here, because this Muradin is kind of feeding, but then...
Yeah, no, like, I love hitting this Muradin. You're doing exactly what you should be doing. Like, I have zero qualms with how you're playing this fight. I think you maybe could have chased harder with this Chen. This Malthael is going to die every single time. Without question. This is the principle behind Diablo preset. I mean, yeah. I mean, it literally does the exact same thing, so I would be amazed if it's not the exact same principle. Are you caught back up, Fain? Now that I've rewinded?
CK.
Okay, just let me know.
Yeah, I'm caught up.
Okay, cool. Consistently stopping Murrah from getting past him is pretty good. Yeah, no, like, I love how he's playing this fight. He's taking no damage at all. Right here, this Vala is dead if you blink Pulse Bomb. And this Murrah, like, you can blink Pulse Bomb the Vala and finish the Murrah. But, I mean, she's dead anyway. Then right here, you chase. You have 2 blinks and a Pulse Bomb. What's it called? And bullet time.
Yeah, and Ming has no mana. I should have gone for her.
And this Malthael is dead. Straight up, he's dead to rights. There's no way he gets away from your team here. So I think that you miss a kill by not chasing it and going for this kill that's basically already guaranteed. I like this bomb. You're not going to fight anytime soon. You did it right at the start. That's one thing, when you're bombing camps and all that, you need to be decisive. Like, if you know that you're not going to fight, because, like, for instance, 3 people just died and the other 2 just hobbled away at low health, then it's perfect to just throw it right at the start and be decisive, so that way you go into the next fight with as much charge as possible. They had no chance of winning that. They were down 7. They were still coming back from the last fight, so I love that bomb right there. I think a lot of people are afraid to do that, and you were not. Good aggression. That was good recognition of your kill potential. Ooh, that was a wasted recall, though, if I've ever seen one. Alright. So let me see here. So you go in on this Malthael. Okay, so there's another thing that I notice, is that after you kill, or after you go into melee this Malthael, and I love this timing, because if he stops to hit you, he's just slowing himself down, and you're not really losing that much. So I loved that you went in for the melee rather than just keeping your distance. And I like the idea behind blinking up so that you don't get triggered with his trait. But you could have still blinked forward and to the right a bit. So, like, basically where you are right now, and saved a blink. Because you actually blink out of attack range and then back in. And this is one thing that I think a lot of people, this is kind of like in between, like, it's like slightly above intermediate skill for a lot of people that really struggle with Tracer. I mess this up all the time, but when you're chasing someone and you want to create a bit of separation, a lot of times you just want to blink slightly askew from them. You know, like, you don't blink straight at them. You blink with them, but to the side. Do you know what I mean by that? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. See, like, you blinked away from him in order to get off him, when you could have blinked basically to where you are now and saved yourself a blink with the exact same purpose. I believe that this Pulse Bomb is up. That recall, there wasn't really any need for it right there, and I think the biggest thing you can do wrong on Tracer, other than, like, straight inting, is just blowing recall, because your entire kit depends on having it available. Tracer is a hero all about pushing the limits, and your limit becomes a lot less once you blow that recall. And I wouldn't worry about it. Like, this is something that Nesper did a lot when I first coached him, and I think every Tracer player does before they really think about it. But, like, that was your first case of it so far, and honestly, that's better than a lot of people do. Dude, I'm just going to bed, Monka. Alright, Rich Melcher, good night. Enemy team seems to be inting. Yeah, they kind of are, but I mean, like, it would be hard not to int as this team in a Tracer. Gonna stream tomorrow? I don't know. Shouldn't have Calamity? Yeah, whatever. Alright. Either way, recall was wasted, and part of the reason you wasted recall was because you didn't have that blink that you wasted blinking the wrong way on the Malthael. And then, because you wasted recall there, and because you wasted a blink, you didn't have a blink to dodge this arcane orb right here. Like, everything that you do wrong on Tracer in a fight stacks on itself. Do you know what I mean by that? Like,
yeah.
If you make a mistake early on in a Tracer fight, you're literally feeling it for the rest of the fight because of how important your cooldowns and HP are as a hero. So, right there, you're feeling it because you're out of the fight, you're not damaging anybody. You probably could have gotten a kill on one of these guys, or at least come damn near close to it. I like that you didn't step back into the Muradin W. This guy's just dead. Not much to say about that part right there. Oh, I love this recognition that you might be able to get the Muradin kill, but you did it just a little bit before recall. As you can see, you die with half a second left. And again, you weren't able to safely threaten this Muradin kill because of the wasted recall earlier, which happened because of the wasted blink. So that's why it's so important to manage these cooldowns properly. Let's see here. So just gonna fast forward a bit. I don't really care about what everybody else is doing. So if you're gonna be soloing this camp, you 100% need to kite it around. Like, you're tanking it a lot, which probably won't matter, but you're kind of depending on this Ana to actually know to come heal you. And Ana's actually been relegated to the soak role. So in effect, you just cost yourself like 20-30% of your health. And you're now going into this fight down a lot of health because you didn't kite the Samurai. And I know around this level is when Tracer could actually start to solo the Samurai. I remember testing it right when this map released, and I don't know if it's like damage has been nerfed since then, so maybe it's even easier now. But I remember around like level 12 or 13, I was able to comfortably solo it with like 5-10% left.
You can like do that count without taking damage?
No, you can solo it without dying. You're gonna take some damage.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I've never like done it without taking any damage. I don't go for it often, but like if I'm starting it ahead of my team, like what you were doing there, I'm kiting it around to reduce damage. Because what you were doing there, like I said, probably doesn't make a difference if the Ana comes and heals you, but as it turns out, in the flow of the game, that's not actually how that was happening. So again, you're going into this fight down 550 health right off the bat. Which means that you take one Q and like an auto, and you have to recall. And again, that's like the worst thing you can do as Tracer, is waste recall, because your hero just sucks when she doesn't have recall. So now, because you approached this this Samurai camp poorly, you've basically completely taken yourself out of this team fight, and you didn't contribute anything of value. I think you should have just focused Mouth there, let Joe run off the DPS. Yeah, I mean, after he was that low, I would agree with you. He can't really contest the DPS once he's that low, especially not by himself. So yeah, like, given that information, I would agree.
I'm gonna feed here, but yeah.
Yeah, I see you have no recall and no blink, and I feel like this should just go in that meme that's like top 10 photos taken seconds before disaster. This is pretty funny though. I like that you get the kill, but a 1-for-1 kill up 2 levels is like super not worth. They get more experience off the kill on you, your death timer is going to be longer, and you're going to lose a lot of your siege damage right here. Running into towers, I see Fain took my advice. Feels bad, man. Yep. And again, if you approach the Samurai camp correctly, and if you went for the Malthael instead of the ranged DPS in the last fight, if you did either of those two things, you wouldn't have had to blow that recall, which means you would have been able to tower dive for that kill. Nearly every single Tracer misplay comes down to taking unnecessary damage that led to you having to blow recall or cooldowns. Like, I would say upwards of 80% of, like, in-game, not build-related misplays come from that. So let's see, we're gonna fast forward again to your live. Let's see, build looks great so far, other than the 4. You're never going to do anything there, like that you backed off from it and recognized that there was no potential. Murden's going to heal everything off. You're not going to be in a safe position to damage anybody else. Also, that push failed because you were dead. Like, push failed because your team overextended, but that wouldn't have been a problem if you weren't dead. Right here, you definitely need to just be hitting this minion wave rather than trading with this enemy team. So right now, this situation can only ever result in a positive if you have kill threat. Otherwise, you're just taking damage for no reason, especially with how far away your Ana is. So right now, this has no way of being positive because you don't have Pulse Bomb. All you need to be doing right now is going over to this minion wave and building a Pulse Bomb and seeing if you can stall this cart at the edge. I don't think it'll work, but I mean, it's worthwhile. But there is 0 that you can gain from poking the enemy team under threat like this. Because you don't win extended trades before you hit your 13 and 16 damage power spikes. So at this point, like I said, you just need to be building Pulse Bomb off of the wave rather than trading. Because again, Tracer gets way better at trading at 13 and 16. So let's see here. Good blink, but in effect all it really is that you're just wasting CDs before a crucial fight and not building Pulse Bomb as fast as you could. Because now you're still 19% off of Pulse Bomb. Each magazine is 6% charge. So you have to do a little over 3 magazines just to hit them, which means that you can't combo them with Pulse Bomb and Melee in between your reload at all. You're going to get it right at the start of your at your 4th set, your 4th magazine. So that makes a really awkward burst situation right here, where it's very, very unlikely you're actually going to be able to pull off a burst kill, because so much of the fight has already gone on, and you're just now getting your Pulse Bomb. The Vala should be your immediate target. Love it. Didn't even need to use Pulse Bomb, and you didn't. I love the discipline. Now you're kind of just shooting a minion for a while.
Yeah.
That was a pretty easy dodge on the Malthael. Good recall, but you shouldn't have had to do it. Again, just dodge Lamau. Like, just dodge forehead. Yeah. Like, a lot of that fight just came down to you needed to dodge the Death Shroud from Malthael. And also, it would have been easier to fight him if you didn't spend like a magazine shooting a minion. And the fight would have ended, it would have gone in your way a lot sooner if you were hitting minions. Because the fight, like, didn't super turn in your favor. Sorry, it wasn't like super related to having Pulse Bomb, but the fight could have gone in your favor a lot sooner if you built that Pulse Bomb off the wave. This looks like such
I thought I got more Pulse Bomb charge from hitting heroes than minions.
No. You get the exact same charge. 6% magazine, no matter what. That's a common misconception, because I think it comes from pulse rounds being a thing. No matter what you shoot, it can be a wall, it can be a minion, it can be a hero, a boss, whatever you want, you're getting 6% charge off your auto attacks. Oh yeah, it's melee, like Belladeth is saying in the chat. Melee gives you more charge against heroes. Auto attacks gives you the same charge no matter what the target is. So in that situation, the first misplay is not hitting the minion wave ahead of the fight. And then the second misplay, let me see, after that causes a bunch of problems that were all related to the first one. The second misplay is not dodging the Death Shroud. And these 2 problems alone, if fixed, could have won you this entire team fight. This guy's calling GG, that's ridiculous. Let's see. Alright, so this is moment of truth right here. You better be hitting that fat control too. You did. Love it. Ricochet is such a ridiculously good talent. I can't believe it took a rework for people to realize this. I was picking it a year before everyone else was. Alright, let's see. Doing good, just taking camps. Love it.
I feed here, by the way, because
I'm
I can't
wondering
dodge.
how. How do you die?
Yeah, I'm just bad. Marker.
Dude, I'm garbage, alright, so I don't blame you. Okay. That blink did nothing. Like, that blink above him did actually nothing. This blink also does nothing. You needed recall to dodge... You needed to recall to dodge the gift. Okay. So, let's... There's a lot to unpack here. Okay. Again, this comes down to wasting CDs. Just let me know when you're with me.
Yeah, I'm there.
Alrighty. So we're gonna go at this step by step. Okay, this is perfect. There is no reason to let him mark you. Never let Malthael melee you unless time is like a huge constraint. Like you remember earlier when you were chasing Malthael down by the enemy siege turret in the bottom right side of the map, I was saying it's good that you went in and meleeed him because you just needed to kill him while he was running, and if he stopped to hit you, then he was dead. You know what I mean? That was a very time-sensitive situation. This is not as much. This, you're more concerned about winning out the fight rather than killing someone in like 3 seconds. And Malthael does literally 0 to you if you just stay at max attack range. Whereas he actually manages to basically 100 to 5 you. All because you walk into that auto attack. So then you blink after he starts the auto, and you don't blink away from him correctly. Like if you blink like bottom left, you may have been able to avoid it if you did it a little earlier. So it's the unnecessary walk into melee range, and you didn't even melee him as you did it. Which would be the only reason to ever step up to Malthael, is you're pulse bombing him or you're meleeing him. So the melee is pretty late, and you took damage from him at all, which is bad. Because you should literally still be at like nearly 100. This Malthael should have done 0 damage to you. All of the damage on you should have come from these ranged minions right here. So then the recall just is way too early. And the parting gift could have killed him. And also you would be up 2 blinks if you didn't waste those 2 blinks. One on just the useless blink while you're already in melee range, and then the other one by the bush right there. So you could have gotten the kill and gotten out, even with the unnecessary damage on you, if played right, by staying at max range and not wasting cooldowns. This is 100% a free kill, with barely taking any damage, maybe taking 10 to 20% of your health from the ranged minions, and that's it.
Yep.
Alright, I'm gonna fast forward a bit. Oh my god, I actually went too fast. You guys have a samurai pushing. That is a heavy dwarf. Oh god, wait, I stopped to look at chat again, and I missed you getting into this fight. Alright. Okay, I think you like just sprint into this fight. Okay. Are you with me?
Not yet.
Okay. Just so beautiful you can't ignore me. Seems good. You control mockery by spamming chat, always. Alright, let's see. So, here, you blink into the fight. One blink into a fight's usually good. Second one, I understand because you want it to melee. Then you
Did parting gift hit her? Or...
Sorry, what?
Did parting gift hit? Because I thought that would kill her, but she didn't die.
I honestly don't know. I'll look back at it and watch it for you. Let me see. I'm trying to think about how I would approach this. Okay. So you come in. You're on the Vala. Blink. What chunked you so hard? Is it just Calamity? Yeah, parting gift hit both her and the Li Ming. You always have to take into account if they're healers next to them at the same time, because as you can see with the hot on her, she just got healed and like the little heal effect. So yeah, heal looks like it may have saved her here. He got hit by 1/2 of... Hey, Ming shoots 3. Alright, let's see. 1 or 2? Oh, I see. Yeah. So, magic missiles plus that. Yeah, that'll do it. Honestly, that's one of those situations where just going in harder is probably the answer. Like, going in behind them is typically a good answer in this situation, because then if they run into you, they die, and if they run back the other way left, they die. And they'll never expect you to blink onto them. I think that maybe you could have fixed that. I don't know. It's just like kind of like don't get hit by Li Ming again. It's a little hard because you didn't have Pulse Bomb. Yeah. I think just, like, you kind of only blinked in, like, twice, and then just kind of pieced out when if you went in harder. I mean, it's a little more advanced than just dodge Lamau Froge, because, like, I'm saying if he had gone in deeper into the enemy backline, I don't think he would have taken as much damage. This is actually a good time to talk about one of my favorite things to talk about for Tracer play, actually. So here on this Vala, you violated, like, one of the cardinal rules of Tracer play, which is do not stand next to your allies. This is actually what I would chalk this up to. And the reason why I say that diving deeper was the answer here, because there's only one direction you can go if you want to minimize damage taken and still hit this Vala, and that's to the right. And so, if you stand on top of your teammates, the enemy team can hit both you and your team, and if you stand by yourself, the enemy team has to risk missing abilities on you. So, like, it's actually just disastrous to ever stand on top of your teammates. And this is one of the reasons why I lost my Tracer game when I subbed for Div-S with Kieran and Collusion and all them, like 2 weeks ago or so. Because we were playing Tracer Medivh, and I would take the portal, which would naturally stack me on top of my teammates, and then I would take too much damage and I would get zoned out of fights. The exact same principle is applying here. You're standing on top of your teammate, so now the Li Ming goes for the super obvious throw abilities right at this spot into Calamity, which allows her to hit you both. I think she maybe missed the Johanna with the Calamity, but either way, standing on top of your teammates, I believe, is the cause for what causes you to take so much damage here. Diving harder behind the enemy backline probably could have avoided this. You kill the Vala, take her turret, drop it behind the enemy team so they have to run through it, and you probably get a triple kill if you just don't violate the rule of do not stand on your teammates as Tracer. Even for like a brief second, it's disastrous. Because again, it all comes back to avoiding damage, and standing on top of your teammates means you take incidental damage from stuff that's aimed for them, and you're just more likely to take damage overall. Oh, whoops. Chen died with...
Did I play that incorrectly, or... Yes. I really felt ineffective.
No, I actually kind of hate the way you played this fight, to be honest with you. For a few different reasons. One of them is, if you sit there trying to trade with 2 ranged assassins and a support by yourself, you'll always lose. No one on your team can dive with you. Like, your team straight up does not win fights by diving. And also, you have Ricochet, which actually strongly incentivizes, or strongly rewards, I wouldn't say incentivizes, strongly rewards hitting the tank. So, let me just play this fight back again. I honestly think you can just sit here hitting the Muradin, because you're not going to kill the backline by yourself, and no one can help you kill the backline on this team. With Deckard, they just will turn and hit you until you die. Like, if you're, like, think about it as, like, if I told you as Tracer, should you 1v2 a Vala Deckard, you would probably tell me no every time. Unless they're just garbage, you lose that every time through just Vala getting heals, Deckard healing himself, and Vala will out-damage you faster than you'll damage through Deckard heals. And you can see that come into play when not only is it even worse than that 1v2, it's a 1v3. And again, like I said earlier with Ricochet, I just want to expand on that idea before I lose it. Is Ricochet allows you to hit the tank and harass the backline at the same time. So you whittle 2 people down. Whereas here, like think about it this way. Tracer gets some of the freest poke in the game. And you're finding yourself in these situations a lot where rather than taking that free poke that you get through your super high mobility and ricochet hitting targets super far away by hitting the tank, which is the easy target to hit, rather than abusing that free poke that you're getting, you're trying to take trades. And trades, especially with a bad healer situation like what you've got here, do not work. Straight up. So here, I think you could easily be harassing this tank frontline and getting ricochet damage all over the enemy team. Also, Pulse Bomb and Melee didn't happen at the same time, and Melee hits the closest enemy target to you, so you actually ended up hitting different targets here, which greatly hurt your burst combo. But either way, trying to kill someone next to their support like this from full almost never works solo as Tracer. That is not... Tracer, you shouldn't be trying to 100 to 0 people next to their support as Tracer. Rather, you should be sitting around whittling people until they get in burst combo range, and then jumping them and recalling out. But instead, your recall keeps you where you are, because rather than this sort of burst mentality that I've established, which is like poke, 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 okay, I can burst now. Instead, it's trade, trade, trade. Okay, my recall doesn't actually take me to safety because I've been in the same place for so long. So, I think you should have been on the left side of this fight, harassing the enemy front line, and just poking them down with the pure strength of Ricochet. And you probably could have killed them out now. Because again, Quantum Spike is actually insane on front line. Like the Muradin or anybody probably would have died there, and you wouldn't have instantly zoned yourself out of the fight. Let's see. I think maybe that could have worked if you had a Tassadar, because Tassadar makes you so much better at trading with the enemy team. And Malf does to a lesser extent. Ana, no. Let's see. This does absolutely nothing. There is literally zero chance that you ever get this kill. His team has to be all dead, and in order to kill him, you will have to pulse bomb. You're 18% away, so you need 3 full mags to get there. So you'd need 3 full mags, and that's still not going to get you in kill range. Even 3 full mags and a pulse bomb doesn't kill him from where he's at right now. Like, that kill just literally cannot happen on the Muradin, and so there's no point to taking the fight. And so hitting the Muradin meant that you were so far out of position when you chased him that now you're in this race for your life. So just going after a kill that literally was guaranteed not to happen drew you out of position, and the enemy team abused that and got you. Also, the recall was like guaranteed death. I think you could have just tried to walk away and go left, because like it's like 90% not going to work, but like the recall was 100% not going to work.
I thought they would chase a little harder, and then I could just...
I feel you. I don't know. Just, I feel like people think of, I don't know, Tracer... Like, I'm just reading your chat, so I'm going back to it. But I've already said my piece on it. It's like, don't try to 100 to 0 people next to support. Same thing I've been saying. Let's see. Back to when you're alive. I don't think there's any way he lives there, TBH. Probably, but I mean, like, running away is better than guaranteed death, if you ask me. Okay, you guys are backing off to deal with this samurai camp. Could have been done a lot sooner, but at least you get... Oh my god! I didn't expect them to come fight you right here. Okay.
I didn't see what happened.
You went to clear the samurai, and then a fight broke out. And I was like, huh? Alright. Okay. So, you blink straight into an arcane orb here that was in vision from the moment it was cast. I don't know what to tell you other than don't do that. Also, blinking straight at people that have skill shots is generally a no-go. Because that means that unless your blink completely crosses the entire span of the ability, which is super hard to pull off even when you're going for it with low ping, it's almost never a good idea. Like, blinks forward onto people. If you're blinking for the burst combo, blink straight at them, pulse bomb melee recall. Boom. Easy. If you're doing anything else with your blinking forward, most of the time you're better off blinking, again, slightly askew. because then if they throw the skill shot straight at you, it misses. So the fact that you blink forward here really punishes you. Even if the Li Ming doesn't exist here at all, it meant that you went straight into the Stormbolt, whereas if you blink a little bit to his sides, then you avoid it, and you don't get stunned, which actually saves you a bunch of health here. So again, the only time you're blinking right onto someone, really you can just even break this down to an even more base level. The only time you want to be directly on an enemy, melee range, is if you're bursting them down with Pulse Bomb and melee. Oh, gotcha. So then you have to blow recall there, and again, as we've gone over, that's disastrous for your output in this fight. I see that you're recalling, or not you're recalling, you're reloading again because you missed locked and loaded. It's not worth. Just finish the magazine.
Okay.
Like you're losing DPS by doing that. Okay. This could have been a mount. Rather than 3 blinks, this could have been a mount every single time. Because now you're out of your blinks. You're going to blink right there again, too. Yep, saw that coming. Which means you can't come chase these guys. Whereas if you mounted onto that Malthael, you would be you'd have a lot easier time chasing these two right here. And I think you're going to miss these kills because of it. Yeah.
I missed them for another reason.
Oh, no? Okay, you can get on this Deckard. You already should. As soon as you got blink number 2, you should have blinked into range of that Deckard and just gotten on him as soon as possible. So you waited like an extra second there. You could have blinked right through that one. I like that when they get out of range, you're recalling. But just the fact that you blew triple blinks on the recall meant they had so much more distance to run. And also, you have fewer blinks for this chase, which means that you ate those magic missiles right there, which actually really chunked you, because now, if you take just a little bit more damage, Calamity kills you. So again, unnecessary damage is pushing you to that 50% mark where you just insta-die when someone breathes on you. And then you have to blow recall. So if you blinked through that orb, or even just sidestepped it a bit, then you would have avoided a lot of damage. And then if you had the blinks from not triple blinking the Malthael, you would have avoided the magic missile damage. And then once Li Ming has Q and W both down, she literally is incapable of killing you. So you would have been able to chase these two all the way to a little bit within core range. 100% you have both kills if you mounted to chase the Malthael in top lane. That change alone probably does it, plus just dodging the Mal. Oh, you had her. Again, you blew a blink right here. You did the same thing that we talked about before, where in the interest of safety, you blink away. A lot of times you can become more safe and still have a fortuitous position at the same time. This is what I talked about near the very start of the replay, where I said your blinks don't always have to be straight on the target or straight away. A lot of times you blink like at them, but askew. And that really comes into play with this Muradin right here. Muradin pressures you, and you jump down instead of just to the right. Because if you blink to the right, he now has jumped past you, and he's completely useless, and his Li Ming has no protection. So, yeah, it's just a replay bug. This isn't what it actually looks like in the game. Like, this was open before I rewound. Okay. So, now you have to blink again to get barely in range of this Li Ming, which means that she's able to walk out of your range, and now you don't get the kill. Oh, no, you get the kill anyway because your teammate bails you out, but you didn't get the kill. So you could have an extra blink right now and have killed that Li Ming yourself. Let's see. Again, there you missed the Muradin kill because you kind of just walked straight at him, which allowed him to Stormbolt you. A big rule of thumb, anytime you're walking up to a skill shot hero, a lot of people just throw their abilities as soon as you're in range, especially below, like, Master Diamond. Once you get in range, to, like, attack them, like, because a lot of times you're blinking onto people anyway, because you want to minimize the amount of time that they can see you, but you're not hitting them. Blink at them, but askew. Again, what I'm talking about. Such a huge move. Would have saved you from that Stormbolt right there. Would have guaranteed the Muradin kill. If you didn't just walk straight at him. So let's see, here there's not much point to hitting. Oh no, he started walking back. Yeah, there's every point to hitting this Malthael. If you blinked on him and meleeed him, the Mount Veil was dead. But only if he did it in between magazines.
About meleeing between magazines, I keep missing locked and loaded when I do that. Does it lock you out of the animation, or
it does not? You can press W and D at the exact same time and it'll work. It's purely down to your fingers. That's actually something that I had to practice a lot. That's now just like second nature to me. Is this better than Epic's Tracer? No. Alright. So overall, I think that, like, even with all those misplays, you still won because this enemy team is a mixture of garbage at the game and garbage draft into Tracer.
Yeah, I felt that after playing this game.
Like, I don't think you won so much as the enemy team lost. There was a lot that I liked. I like the aggression. A lot of Tracers are too scared to be aggressive. But overall, if I had to sum everything up, number one would be just learning how to use your blinks effectively so that you don't have to waste extra blinks in fights. Learn to dodge. Because as dumb as that may sound, just like dodging in all of these fights, there, like, nearly every single fight had a moment where someone just threw a skill shot at you that you could have dodged and didn't, and forced you into an early recall. Hit locks and loaded. Don't try to trade people. Like, for instance, don't try to trade with people. Try to poke and burst. Especially, like, Tracer, without a Tassadar, does not trade. She pokes and she bursts. Without Tass or Mouth, rather. So, let's see here. Oh yeah, also different level 4 was a really, really big one. I wouldn't even attribute it to, like, how you use the parting gift. That's not my qualm with it at all. As I explained earlier, it's entirely down to health pack would have been absolutely monumental. I think, unless I'm on a map where you just straight up don't get globes, if I'm picking Tracer without a Mouth, Tass, or Abba, I am not going anything other than health pack. Like, I've got a support that isn't one of those three exactly, I'm going health pack every single time. Unless it's on, like, BOE. So, pick health pack in this situation, poke and burst more rather than trading, because you don't win trades because of your absolutely small health pool. Dodge more. Don't let Mouth Veil ever hit you, that was a really big one. Abuse the fact that you have Ricochet by whittling tanks rather than trading, which is kind of the same thing I said earlier. Don't waste blinks. The wasted recalls were mostly due to wasting blinks and taking unnecessary damage, so that's kind of an extension of the things I've already said. I think that just about sums up everything that I have to say about this game. I will say, just another thing that I find extremely game-winning on this map that I abuse all the time when I pick Tracer on Hanamura. I don't know if you really had too many opportunities to use it, because I wasn't really looking out for it. I was more judging you on what you did rather than what you didn't do. But these trees, Belladeth in the chat has it 100%. Do you see the trees by the turn-ins? Each side of the map has, what is it, 2 trees? And they're right next to the payload turn-in points. Do you see what I'm talking about? Like individual trees out in the open?
Yeah.
Tracer has a tiny hitbox, and this tree is like a godsend for playing Tracer on this map, because your hitbox is so tiny, you can just walk up to these trees on the enemy side of the map and just hide behind it, and it's basically stealth, because the enemy team can't see you. So I abuse this all the time to catch people out. This is mostly a thing I do after level 10, because 10 is like your big single target damage burst spike. So after 10, and that's also just when people are roaming out a lot more, because before 10 people are laning a lot of the time. After 10, I go, in a lot of situations where it's good, I don't just sit there and do it all the time, but when I think that it might net me a kill, I go to the enemy side of the map, and I sit on the side of the tree that's towards the middle. So like say for instance I'm on the right team, like I'm on the right side, I'll go to the enemy team's trees way on the left side of the map, and I'll sit on the right side of the tree. Does that make sense? So that way like they can't see me coming out of spawn.
Okay.
Yeah. So that way they can't see you behind that tree until they're all the way past the tree. So then you're basically given like they literally just cannot see you until it's too late. And the best part is Tracer is such a safe hero because of all your mobility that if this doesn't work, a lot of times you can just peace out. It's an extremely low risk, super high reward play that has actually gotten me a lot of wins and free picks on this map. So it's just something to think about next time you play Tracer, is basically the free stealth trees in those locations. I'm not sure they're anywhere else on this map other than those two. I think that's it. There's kind of one like way at the bottom and top, but I mean that's not super relevant. Okay. Other than that, I think that's everything. Is there anything you want to ask before we call it, or is that it?
Nope. Thanks for the flame.
No problem. Anytime. All right, everybody. I've been out all day. This is all I'm looking to do for tonight. Thank you for accepting the constructive criticism. You handle it a lot better than a lot of players, Fain. My time coaching in the HGC and all that, there's some prima donnas out there. You accept it very well. Let's see here. I'm going to send y'all over to Vipey. All right, everybody. Hope y'all all have a fantastic night, and I will see you all later. Good night, everybody. All right, see you later, Fain.
Oh goodness. Oh no. That was a crazy amount of damage.
Sorry.
Okay.
It's okay. I just had patience being bad.